Anthony Walsh and Kieran O'Connelly from Pocket Coach. Welcome to Irish Startup TV.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about Pocket Coach and what inspired the business?
Yeah, so I graduated from law school back in 2010, and I had an opportunity to go abroad and race my bike for a couple of years. So I went away to France, and then I got a salaried offer to go to America. And when I was there, I needed to figure out a way to make some cash on the side remotely. I had a lot of time, but not a lot of availability to be physically at a location. So I started coaching cyclists online and teaching them how to be better cyclists, how to prepare better for events. When I came home and I decided to turn this into a real business, I seen there was a problem with this way I had it set up. There was a linear relationship between time and income, and that was completely flawed. So I met with Kieran and we started brainstorming how we could fix this. And
Kieran is also a cyclist.
Yeah, I grew up with Anthony playing football with Anthony. We lived next door to each other, and then we took up cycling about 10 years ago, and there was a couple of years ahead of me, and then we cycled for 8 years together. So it was just after I finished cycling, we did this last year.
Super. So you met up and you decided you're going to make a business out of this idea.
Yeah, I was running a training camp in Qatar at the time, over in Doha, and I was a bit out of my depth on the business side of it, and I went to Kieran for a bit of help. And he said, yeah, I'd love to be involved. So we got involved, and we had a lot of time just on the plane over there where we're sort of brainstorming this, and probably the apple's probably born in Doha.
Yeah, we met a friend of mine as well, Sigurd, who's a Norwegian. He was helping us. We were going to do a website about it. He was like, why don't you do an app? So we were like, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, so it's essentially aimed at a market that isn't catered for at all, which is people who don't think they have the time or the money to justify professional level coaching, which is, a very important part of the training. But it's people who maybe cycle 1 day a week, twice a week, or are financially burdened, that want access to professional level coaching services and are personalised for them. And it's just not out there. There's nothing in the market for it.
And on that note of personalisation, there's also a responsive and adaptive element that you've built in with the technology.
Yeah, I think that was the big challenge for working at A1 Coaching is my cycling coaching company, and that's the challenge we find with clients all the time. They want something that builds around their lifestyle. In an ideal world, we'd all be professional cyclists, we'd all have unlimited time to train, but that's not the reality people are faced with. They have families, they have jobs, they have personal commitments outside of riding a bike or trying to get fit. So the adaptive nature of Pocket Coach, it's probably one of our unique selling points. It's going to change based on your daily preferences.
So your training schedule will change, because obviously we're in an interrupt, as you've alluded to, we're living in an interrupt-driven world now. So Pocket Coach will help your training plan to adapt with your needs and your schedule.
Yeah, one of our taglines is your life changes, so should your training.
Brilliant.
We're trying to break away from template training plans, which means here's your next training for the next 12 weeks. And that's it. There's your training set out. That doesn't work. Like, you miss a session, your kid's sick, you're stuck in work, your bike breaks. If you miss that session, you can't just compensate by just skipping it. You should be bringing towards a goal. And so our algorithm and our app is created so that way when you miss a session or 2 sessions, all your other future sessions change to keep you on the path towards your goal.
So we're redistributing that training load across the week. So we've identified the physiological stress that one training session puts on the body. And so if you look at that number, we might have a theoretical stress figure of 600 for the week. So if you miss a Tuesday session, we still need to get you that 600 training stress for the week. So we're just redistributing that training stress, making other sessions longer, other sessions harder, to compensate for the fact that you're working late tonight and couldn't train as hard.
That's absolutely fantastic. I don't know anyone that wouldn't find this product to be absolutely game-changing, especially for the weekend warriors.
Yeah, and there's millions of them. Strava estimates the market is 180 million worldwide. Strava does GPS tracking and is the racing element for leisure cyclists, beating segments, and they have a great grasp of the market, and that's who we're kind of targeting. People still use Strava and use Garmin's and stuff like that, and we take that data that describes what they did and we prescribe work for them to do. So that's what our role is, and it's just not out there.
And your technology theoretically could be redeployed as well in a group training context, say in a military training context or a team training context, where perhaps some members might appear to suffer more during a particular session. So perhaps it's possible to be more adaptive and tailor their individual program to.
Yeah, exactly. So the goal of the training is never just to flog a dead horse. The goal of the training is to get somebody to an event or to a target. In the military, it could be to a combat situation in optimum physical condition. It's not to just bombard and training all the way up. So I think our algorithm, it's unique in that it has a understanding that to get an athlete into peak condition, there's periods of intense training, but they're followed up by periods of recovery. And everybody's period of training and recovery is different. So it's by that constant interaction with the app where we're asking questions like, how did you sleep last night? What was your diet like? What was your hydration level? How well prepared do you feel for training today? Mental stress. We've come up with a total life stress component to it. So we're trying to define when somebody's ready to train, so we can give them the hardest training session possible all the time without risking burnout.
Absolutely fantastic. Guys, what's next? What do you need?
Yeah, so we're funding raising at the moment. We are very close to a beta test, so probably the next 6-7 weeks should have beta testing, small amount of people. And then our next goal is to get funding. We're in talk with Enterprise Ireland and various other angels and VCs to try and get that funding to do an MVP, minimum viable product, bring that to market, and then we will either look for a big round of funding, or we will think that we're close to maybe being cash generating and revenue generating, so we should be able to fund ourselves. But yeah, it's going to be a busy next 2 or 3 months, definitely, with the coming to the combination of beta testing and running out of product. So
Great. If we'd like to find out more, or we'd like to get in contact with you.
Yeah, a1pocketcoach.com is the website, and you can find us at A1 Pocket Coach on Twitter, Facebook, and on Instagram.
Guys, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck with the project.
Thanks very much. Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Great.